Jason Balducci, it's such a pleasure to meet you in person, so to speak, on Zoom today. We're so excited to, have you. Here's Frank.
Hey, hi Frank.
Hi, Olivia.
Nice to see you.
Good to be connected. Yeah, very nice to all be on the call. Olivia is doing an amazing range of interviews. I think you must be number 13 or 14 now, Jason, and many of them I joined in, and it has been an amazing, even for myself, has been an amazing experience to listen to all the stories of the incredible artists that we have in this drop. And so I'm also very happy to have you, in the group of 35 global artists for the MetaArt Club Lounge. For Olivia, maybe some of the information. Actually, I met Jason on Clubhouse. It must have been March, and if I remember well, around beginning of April, I bought 3 or 4 artworks from Jason. And I know that Jason was super much present in the space on Clubhouse, and he was really making the effort to do and to profile his art. And that was a really early stage of what I see of the new NFT, let's say, space that arose. And if I recall, Jason, what I felt, if I look back to that beginning, it was very much directed, and it was very much taking off out of the US. And it was actually quite a grouping of artists that managed to catch a lot of attention. And as there were still pretty limited number of collectors, most of the attention went to a rather small group of artists. And I felt that Jason was one of the artists that just was not in that core group that also, hyped each other up. And then I felt that slowly, I think Jason lost a little bit interest and was less and less visible. As Jason actually is a very accomplished artist in the physical art world, where he makes paintings which he sells all over the world, I could see that he was concentrating back on that core activity. And then so happens that I think it was around 1.5 months ago, I had put I bought an artwork for Jason, I think for 0.1, 0.2 E. And once I just put on one of the work, what's called Dior, I put a price of 1 Ethereum. And suddenly I woke up in the morning and I saw that someone bought his work for 1 Ethereum. So that was kind of cool. And I think it was also with Jason a surprise. I think 1 or 2 days later we started chatting, and actually that's where I really encouraged actually Jason to come back in the space. And that, not only that, but I also actually told Jason is that why don't you buy an iPad and really join your artwork, which is so creative and it's so beautiful, and why don't you also move that into the physical space, because especially I think with his creativity can be super successful. And so he did, and Jason entered the space in a really digital manner, and I think he's making great progress. Love what he's doing. And of course, Jason being one of the very, very early Italian artists on the NFT space, I really felt he deserves to be in the 35 group of 35. And I also hope that this will be a great platform, especially for Jason to take off and also establish his career as an NFT creative artist. So very much looking forward to have you on board, Jason. And I believe the next 5-6 weeks will be an amazing experience. I think not only for me, but I hope for all the artists that are on board. And I look very much happy to be all together, be successful, and show the world that NFTs and it's not only about collectibles, but can be very much focused to individual artists and quality of art. So that's my wish. That's what we are working towards. And so glad you're on board, Jason. And then I'd like to give the word back to Olivia, who is an amazing interviewer. So, I'm going to listen with full interest and listen to your artistic story. So thanks so much, and nice you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank, for that really comprehensive and heartfelt introduction to Jason's work. I think that's really, really meaningful to see how you two both got connected. And on that note, Jason, I just wanted to really ask you, you've made this kind of seismic leap from being a physical artist to being a digital artist. Can you tell us in your words about that transition? And are you keeping both practices? Are you maintaining both practices in parallel? I mean, how does that look for you in terms of your working practice?
So yeah, first of all, thank you, Frank, for the introduction. It was very comprehensive, very detailed introduction, and I'm still working on my original on canvas. It's like a primary source for me to go to create and start a piece. But in the last few months, especially a month ago, I just bought an iPad under the suggestions of Frank, and who, in a way, he pushed me at the beginning of this this adventure in the NFT. But then, as he said, I lost like interest, right? Because I wasn't getting into the very first groups of hyping each other, so I lost interest. And when he sold the piece, I got back again, and I bought an iPad. And my art from a traditional is shifting to digital, fully digital. So I'm starting to rework some of my pieces from canvas. So I do a picture, and then I work on Procreate. And so I had some digital effects in it, and I totally rework the piece. And slowly, because I'm still learning Procreate and how to use it, I'm creating fully digital pieces. So in a way, I still keep my eye and my practice on traditional art, because it's for me, it's like pausing my total attention to the digital to also go to touch with my hands, get dirty, and it's a sort of meditation too, right? So for me, I need that to create digital. So it's like on a scale where I need one thing to balance the other one. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, I can completely appreciate that you need that tactile experience with your art, as well as the excitement of, I guess, finding out a new medium and exploring the boundaries of Procreate and how that looks, but not how it feels, because it's a screen and a digital pen. Yeah.
Also, I always loved to see my art moving. So I was always intrigued by animation. I'm not a very good animator, but I'm starting to add and try to move those elements that I like to create within an image. So I'm starting to how to animate pieces and works and elements to create a deeper piece and sense of motion, So I always try to go further than just what you see in front of you, and I also try to challenge myself and not just work on something that sells or works a lot, but I try also to start all over again, and in a way just try to find some other technique or different use of colors or elements to create something new, right? That inspires me every day, because otherwise it's pretty much boring if you do always the same over and over. So it's like a reset of what you do, your practice, to rethink it and pause sometimes. So I like to, as I said before, to keep this balance between digital and real world by just shutting down sometimes the digital and go back to sort of meditation, and that helped me to come back even stronger with more ideas.
Yeah, that's incredible. And your work is so, your physical work as well as your digital work is so layered, and even your static works feel like they have so many different elements to them visually, that there is that sense of movement, even though they're static work. So I think that feels very natural to the viewer when I'm looking at your work. And I wanted to ask you, Jason, you know, how can you articulate to our collectors who are going to be, and our community who are going to be seeing this interview, you know, how did your art journey begin? First of all, you're from Italy, you live in Canada. You know, can you tell us a bit about your background, and then, you know, how your art journey developed?
Yeah, so I've always been interested in art as a form of expression. Being myself very introverted, sometimes I like to be with myself only, and art in a way always helped me to give me company. So it was a way of expressing what I had inside, and especially painting is the tool that I use to do that, to communicate, right? To communicate what I had inside. It's like a urge, like a feeling I needed to do it. So through the time, I started to basically draw, and the very beginnings were just black and white. I studied fine arts in Italy, and then I moved to Spain after 1 year. I was in Erasmus, and I stayed there 2 years. And there I can say that my art just exploded. So before it was very academic. So the right use of color, the right use of perspective, forms, and everything else. In Spain, I found a group of artists that were very more free. They were just doing what they felt, right? So I learned how to express myself through shapes, colors, just random things inside the image that can express some feelings in a different way, right? So it wasn't like, okay, I have to do a portrait, I have to do it perfectly like a photograph. Before it was like that. When I was there, I learned how to do the same thing, same subject, but in a different way. It was more original, more raw, more authentic. So with the help of friends, fellow students, we shared ideas, and then in a way, I went on my way, and I started to develop my own language, my own style. And yeah, so I would say around 2008, I started to really paint, like professionally, and of course, it hasn't been easy, of course. So just lately, in the last 2 years, I can say that I'm selling a lot of paintings, a lot of my works. I'm doing really good, and I'm happy for that, especially because my works are going all over the world, and I'm giving happiness. I'm bringing what I put on the canvas to someone else that sees it just on the screen, right? Yeah. So So maybe this will go to another question that you might ask, how I got into NFTs, but we can talk about later. And yeah, so I'm really happy to know that behind the screen there's someone else that sees something in my just one image, right, in 2D image, and decides to buy it, and because he believes in what he sees or sparks in him or her something that maybe I didn't even see, right? Yeah, this is my journey, and right now as you know, I'm shifting to digital, and yeah, it's been very great, and I'm very happy.
Oh, that's incredible. Thank you for outlining that. And I love the way that you equate your digital work with sparking joy in the viewer, because that's such a powerful experience. And I'm going to ask you in a little bit about kind of the way that you communicate with your collectors and have that interaction with them. But I just wanted to go back to what you just explained about your time in Spain. And where were you? Were you studying art there? And you've mentioned Guernica by Picasso and Las Meninas by Velázquez. So the classical school, and then moving to one of the seminal works of modern art by Picasso, which is a huge work. Can you give us a little bit of an overview of that important part in your artistic development?
Yeah. Again, I was between 2008, 2010, 11. I was very young, so I was receiving a lot of inputs and giving out outputs. So it helped me to connect a lot with fellow artists, because this little town in Spain, it's called Altea. It's between Alicante and Valencia. So it's a very small town on the beach, on the sea. So there are mountains on the back. There's just one school, just one university, which is fine arts. So everyone knew each other. So it was a very nice community. Like, we can compare it to like Clubhouse nowadays, but back in the days it was just a small community of artists. So we could share, practice ideas. So it was very, very, very nice, and I learned a lot. And they helped me push just freely my emotions on the canvas. I also tried, sculpture. I used to do videos. I was very good at it. So, I tasted different things, right? And I picked off each experience something that I brought in my final practice, which is painting, but also video, as I liked video a lot. I also continued to that into my experience, and in a way it came back because I like animation, and I'm trying to add animation into my works. So the atmosphere in Spain was very exciting. The internet, we didn't have iPhones or smartphones. It was 2008, so it was the very beginning of not even Instagram, just Facebook. So everyone was just enjoying each other, enjoying practices, painting a lot or doing works, and it was very, very exciting. And that helped me just to become the person I'm today, the artist that I'm today. And I love Velázquez, Picasso, of course, and those works are, I think, amazing because they transmit just by seeing it. I go to the museum and you look at it. You don't have to stay there and study the piece or go and look for I don't know, something hidden. Everything is there, and every day is different. Every day you go to the museum and see the works, they tell you a different story, right? So that's what I like about those artists, and the way that changed the art history. They changed their practice. Especially Picasso, he tried different things He didn't just stay on just one style that was working for him, but he tried to reinvent himself. So that's what I like about the artist, that no matter what happens to him or to the world, he knows how to reinvent, how to take advantage of opportunities. So they see opportunities everywhere.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Is that an ethos that you apply to your work, Jason, as well? Because it's not defined by one particular style necessarily. I mean, there is that pop art element and the vivid use of color, but we can't pigeonhole you, and I'm sure you don't want to be pigeonholed. So is that kind of what you apply to your practice as well?
Yeah, I don't like to be put under like one category. I don't like to be just listed as, is a pop artist that does portraits this way. Yeah, I have, of course, some base, some roots, some kind of style that you can see, but I always try every day to reinvent, to add something, to remove something, to do it differently, so that I can talk to many people as possible, not just someone who likes pop culture or likes portrait. I want to talk to a wider audience, and yeah, again, I don't like to be just under one roof. I want to be. I like to travel, so I would like to meet different people when I travel, different cultures. Same as I do art. I want to connect with many people as possible, with different backgrounds, with different way of thinking, different cultures through my works. So if I do the same work all over again, I can just paint, different, just one category, right? But if I do different styles, different way of express myself, I can talk to a wider audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the motifs that I see you riffing off is kind of classical sculpture in your canvases. Is that because you love the form of the Renaissance sculptors, or why do you use motifs like that, or is it that you're fascinated by kind of symmetry?
That was that was when I moved to Canada 2 years ago, and after like 1 year, I there was COVID, so I couldn't move back to Florence because I'm from Florence. So in a way, it was a short series I did about classic art, but I was rethinking classic art through the lens of contemporary art. So for me, it was like traveling in the past. I don't know if you've been to Florence, but if you're in Florence, you'll see everywhere there's like Renaissance, like classic sculptures, beautiful art. It's like being in a wonder world, right? But to me, it was like traveling with my paintings to a place I couldn't be, right? So that helped me to, in a way, zone out and just travel with my paintings and rethink classical art, not just the way it is, but with a different lens, right?
Yeah.
So adding more pop culture, adding more layers, ripping off faces, just put energy on that.
Yeah, your work really transmits the energy in a really, really vivid way. And I wanted to ask you, with that freedom to create, and the new medium of digital art, do you feel like this is a digital renaissance that we're currently in the midst of? And why is that, if that's the case?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think it is. Because technology is always more present in our life. If you think about the first thing we do in the morning is just turn on the phone and look to everything, notifications or emails, social media. And art as well is part of that. So, and in a way, it's like, and luckily is bringing, like, shifting the attention more to the art practice, and art is pushing this renaissance, the digital, to a new level. So it's not just it's not the technology that is overwhelming us, but
yeah,
it's a pleasure, right? It's like a pleasure to see it, art, to live art. And if you think about art is everything, and as technology is just a tool to us to see, for us to see art, to enjoy art. And with art you can communicate in a way that in the past, like, the art was like a way of telling stories or telling something. So today it's communication. It's telling something to the viewer that maybe doesn't speak our own language, but through art can see something and maybe inspire someone, save someone that maybe is depressed or anything. So art is magic, and I believe strongly in art, and it's like a card bringing us to a new way of seeing things in a different way. Not just this. It's not just seeing things, but just look deeply into what the significance of what just is around us is.
Yeah, it's a powerful.
So it's becoming very present in our life every day, and yeah, I'm happy to be part of it. Yeah.
Well, we're delighted to have you as part of the 35 artists within the MetaArt Club, and to bring you to a new collector base based in Hong Kong and obviously globally as well. So it's an exciting time. And I wanted to ask you, with regards to the digital renaissance, during the Renaissance, there was this heightened output of artistic work, and collectors and art patrons were really shaping the work because they were influencing the artists, and that relationship was really turning into something that had never been seen before. And it seems to me, I think you're the 14th artist that I've now interviewed for the MetaArt Club interviews, and it seems to me that the artists are really talking about this in a way that is significant. That you're interacting with your collectors through platforms like Clubhouse, and in a way that's never happened before. Can you talk about that a little bit, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Florence, so I know a lot about Renaissance. I see it every day. But if you think about Olivia, back in the days, Lorenzo de Medici, he helped a lot of artists because he believed. He wasn't just a collector. Yeah, he was a banker, but he believed in the powerful message of art. Any kind of art, just from painting to sculpture to writings. So he started this culture. It's a culture of collecting art, not just because it's something that I can invest my money and then resell it, but just for the pleasure of it. So it's the pleasure of seeing art, appreciate art. So it's like you have a sensitivity to it. So you're sensible to something that it's out of ordinary, because it's in the past it wasn't just art. It wasn't something that you can work to pay the bills or just live off. It was just practice that was to tell people story of the Bible, or basically was the Bible those days. So nowadays we have a different way of thinking about art as like collectible, or something you can invest on and then resell it. I'm here more for the long term, as I've always been in art. I painted for many, like 10, more than 10 years. I didn't used to sell a lot, but I was just selling a few paintings here and there. I had a full-time job, but just recently in the last 2 years, I started really to uh, like selling out mostly everything I have. And I realized that it was because of COVID, people just turning their attention to their phones, living into this metaverse, the internet, and they started to see my work. So galleries they were starting to push more my profile, and so social media, online galleries, and collectors just made that uh, just little group that push my art, and it's a beautiful tool that help you to connect with people overseas, everywhere, and again through art, which is, again, it's like something that connects you with people, right? Because maybe there's a language barrier between people, culture barrier, but art just breaks it, just breaks the wall. And yeah, even if it's, you have to think about a canvas. Usually you have to touch it, see it, and look through it, and then you decide to buy it. But there are people that just believe in what you do just by seeing it through a screen, right? So they see colors, they see layers, and they believe in what you want to tell them, or you're telling the world. So they receive the message. So it's a beautiful tool. Of course, I should be personally more outgoing. Also, go there and talk a lot, present myself. That's something I lack of, and I think that's because I'm still. I didn't catch the first train of group of artists. I missed that, but I was waiting for this to people, collectors, and people in the art world that can select a group of very good artists that they're all together. They can talk the same language, speak the same language, and then they can push their artworks to the stars, right?
Yeah.
So I like this idea, and that's why I joined. And thank you and Frank for this opportunity. And that in a way is helping something I lack of, which is like being more present and talk about my art.
Yeah, well, we feel fortunate that we are enabled by you to be able to do that. So thank you, Jason. And for us, it's really a privilege. So I wanted to touch on, the video and animation side of your work, and where you see your practice or how you see your practice evolving now that you're in this kind of limitless space, where you can just create. What are you looking forward to? Are you kind of being guided by the technology to help you execute, or is it coming from within you, and then you're using the technology just as you kind of get to grips with new forms of working with digital tools, for example?
Yeah, as I said before, Frank said it too. I bought the iPad under his suggestion, because he said you should buy an iPad and you'll see that your work will change a lot, especially the colors. So I just needed that push to make the final decision, because I was like, yeah, I'll do it one day. Well, when I will start selling more artworks, I might invest some of those money to buy an iPad. But then I said, why waiting? I mean, waiting for tomorrow? Let's do it today. So I did it, and it was a very, very good suggestion. It connected me then with other artists, and I just started to work, and I said, okay, I can't just repeat what I'm doing with the canvas. I can just copy that and do the same thing on the iPad. Yes, it's a good starting point to, practice and learn how to use the program. But then again, I get bored and I want to do something else. So I start adding animation. I remember when I was starting video making. So I said, okay, that helped me for today. So, in life, you do maybe something today that for you is pointless, but it might serves you in years coming, right?
Right.
And that's what happened. I'm trying to add following the digital development. But I know that if I want to get to the very professional level, I should invest more time, I should invest more interest. But I don't know if that's something I want to go to, because I don't want to, can I say, I don't want to be a master in something. I just want to be curious. I want to learn and then forget about it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to learn about something, but not like a master. I don't want to be a master in something. I just want to learn, enjoy what I'm doing right now. And then if tomorrow I'm going to do like music, because I like music too. If I'm going to be a producer, okay. If someone tells me, oh, do you want to do like a DJ setting? Do you want to learn about how to do composition in music? I'll say yes, but then I don't want to be a master in that. So I'm using just many things, and in a way I collage them in my work, which is primary painting, right? So yeah, technology, I use technology and I follow technology developments every day, and I start implementing that in my practice. But yeah, again, I my word is collage. So collage, adding, but sometimes just removing. So keeping just very minimal things in my art. So I like to find other artists to collaborate with. I did some artworks with animation, with music. So that's the beauty of this platform, the many platforms that we have today. But without forgetting that there's real life outside, and you have to enjoy your family and friends too. Otherwise, yeah, it's always a balance. I'm a Libra, so I like to be moderated and peaceful, but also have a balance in my life and not just go just in one direction, right?
Right. No, I mean, you've articulated that really well. With music and in collaboration, I think that's the beauty of NFTs, that you can layer works so that they can have all these different components to them, and it's not just a visual experience, it's auditory, it's there's so many other layers that can be added if that's part of the artist's vision. So it's kind of like the sky's the limit, which is really interesting. Who are the other artists that you have been building this community with in the NFT space, Jason? Can you give us a little
when I
insight?
started at the very beginning, there were a few artists like Dario de Siena, which I remember him from Instagram, and there were Eddie Gangland, another fellow artist from Toronto too, which goes under like Early Worm. Many other artists, very good artists. Some others not very good, but I think in the very very beginning it was about the quality of art. It was more about how you market yourself. If you had a very big community already in the digital world, that helped you a lot. So again, it wasn't much about quality of work. It was more about the network that you had with your own tribe that started collecting your work and pushing you. And yeah, nowadays I've been introduced to a few artists, following on Twitter too, like Tom Fry, Harry Packard, Josh Bowie, yeah, uh, Jake Nordstrom. So there are many fellow artists that I like, and I follow um, and support if I can. And
yeah.
I don't know many Italian artists, but I'm starting to. They're more from, I know from some Italian artists from the traditional art world that they're like entering now the NFT. So, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, actually, Eddie Gangland and Harry Pack are both, as you know, within the group of 35 artists that are part of the MetaArt Club. So yeah, you're all in good company.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting. So on that note, you know, you've talked about kind of art's influence with this cultural kind of renaissance. I mean, do you think, you know, do you want your work to just be kind of appreciated for its own integrity, or, you know, would you like to kind of one day create a collectible that wasn't kind of a ridiculous collectible, but was something that was, you know, based on your craft as an artist? Because I mean, that's possible too, you know.
Yeah. As I said before, I'm open to. I'm very open-minded guy. I always challenge myself, and if it's this, it's. I mean, because NFTs started as collectibles in the first place. I remember, and I was kind of. I was like, I don't know if it suits my practice. But then with time, I said, well, I can try. So I'm thinking about it, and I'm very open to that as a different way to create art, to do like a series of collectibles. So it's very exciting, and I'm very open to that.
Cool. Okay. And can I ask you, you know, when you're doing, for example, one of your portraits, how do you work? Are you working from memory? Do you have a physical model? You know, how does that process come about for you?
So the very beginning, past years, I used to have a live model. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't, because I feel that the model was influencing a bit my art piece by just being there. So I wasn't alone. So I had another human being in the room. I was influenced about some of them might judge my work, because it was he or she was like, okay, I like it, I don't like it. So I don't like that in my own space where I'm creating. So I started to work based on memory, then photographs of people I knew. So I tried to convey emotions through my like colors, brushstrokes, lines, forms of the person I know, I knew, or I met. So I use the photographs just to outline the basic shape of the head and the character of the face, but then through colors, line, and everything else, I try to convey emotions that I had of that person. Like if it was she or he was very outgoing person, very happy, I used like more warm colors. If it was the opposite, it was cold colors, like black lines and all of that. With time, I started to work more on just random pictures, or especially works from photographs. Like sometimes I just write to artists that work in the photograph medium, and I just ask, hey, can I use this picture, this photo to work on?
Okay.
And yeah, most of the times they just say, yeah, sure, just tag me or whatever. So yeah, it's a kind of collaboration that I like, where we mix two mediums or two way of seeing things in one way, so they combine and that you create something else.
Yeah,
So
that's very interesting. So so your work is quite iterative when you're taking, for example, a photograph from another artist and then working over that with layers and layers of color and different form.
Yeah, pretty much the process is that. And but it really depends on how I feel while I create. It's not that I just decide to, okay, I want to look for, I don't know, male portrait photo, and then I go, on the internet and look for that. It's not that. It's more about, sometimes I just take some days off to think about and to not get inspired, because I believe, as I think Picasso said, to be inspired, you have to work on, right, every day, and then inspiration will come. So to me, doing something else is still working. So I get inspired by everything that it's around me, and I'm always attentive to something, always like waiting for something to come or to inspire me. That could be everything actually. Could be a bird, could be someone talking, could be talking with you, it could be like a leaf falling from the tree. Everything that gives you that hints of doing something to create, and in your mind that just poof comes something, and then you have to do it, you have to put it on, you have to create it. So it's not a process. It's not like every day the same process all over again, but it's not either like waiting for something. And I'm always, in a way, I'm always working, even if I'm not physically creating, but I'm creating inside myself, and that's just half of the process already. I mean, half of the piece is inside me already. The other half is just doing it on the canvas or whatever the medium is.
Yeah.
So I start, when I sit down and open my iPad or the canvas, I'm already at the 50% starting point.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah.
And that's a discipline, though, showing up for yourself every day and not judging yourself when you're in the first 50% stage, not not having that conversation in your mind where you're like, okay, where's this going? Can I do this? What am I going to do? I mean, that's a huge, that is a discipline.
It is. It's like a monk discipline, because you have to believe in yourself first, because not many people will believe in yourself. Maybe only if, when you're successful, they will start coming and say, oh, I love your work, or always loved your work, and then they start appreciating what you do. I can just count a few people that believe in what I do, truly believe in what I do, and not just because of the success you might have. It's a discipline like everything else in this world. The more attention you put to something, the more it will grow. Right? It's like putting a seed, but if you don't give the elements, the right elements, water, soil, the wind, and sun, it doesn't grow, right? So you have to, and attention. So you have to be there every day. Sometimes you don't have to be there. Just walk away. Because also too much attention on something can overwhelm that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And there is an art to not overdoing it. There's an art to having the philosophy of less being more, I guess. Yeah. So, Jason, it's been a real pleasure speaking to you today, and I'd love to talk to you more about your practice, because I can see you really think about what you're saying, and how you describe your work, and it's been really fascinating. I have one more question from my side, which is, typically how long does that process take of creating a work when you can say, okay, I feel like it's finished? I mean, is this kind of how long is a piece of string, or is this, do you have a practice where that 50% and the other 50% takes a certain amount of time for you typically?
Well, that's a very good question. Well, it's like, how much can you eat in just one sit? I mean, I can eat like a plate of pasta like this, or you can eat like less. It depends on how much you can keep in your belly, in your stomach. But
it doesn't have to, there doesn't have to be a set response to that. I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's like sometimes I'm not like fully 50% on just one artwork. Okay, so for sometimes I can do like one artwork today of something that I was thinking like 2 years back, or a project that I was thinking 2 years back in time and 2 years ago, but I didn't have the tools to make it real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But nowadays I have, right? Or something that I'm thinking right now, talking to you, that it might happen next week, to say, right? So it's like something that will go in your mind like this, and then you suddenly wake up and say, okay, I can do it. I have now everything that I need to do it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there isn't like one fixed answer to this. You just know it. Like when you know that a person is the person of your life, you just know it. It's just something that there's no word to that. There isn't anything that can put you under that category of saying, okay, this is what happens, and the word is this. So when when I'm inspired, or when I'm ready, or when I see the love of my life, right?
Yeah.
Or when I'm full of eating. So you just know it. It's just something within yourself that we don't know, and that's the beauty of it, maybe, because we don't know it. That in a way tells you by, I don't know, sweating or goosebumps.
Yeah.
It could be anything. So that just tells you that message of, okay, just do it. Now it's the time. Sit down and do it. Or sometimes you're just doing something, and then, poof, okay, now I switch to that thing that I was thinking the other day, right? So again, sometimes you have to work, and then inspiration comes, and then you go back and do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I hope it responds it answers your question.
Yeah, you really did, and thank you, Jason, for articulating and for sharing the intuition that you put into your work, and that intuitive process and that magic that takes place when you create. So it's been a real pleasure speaking with you today, and on behalf of the MetaArt Club, on behalf of Frank and all of us, we're delighted to be working with you, and I hope to be able to continue the dialogue, maybe on a podcast at some point soon, and in some of the rooms that we're going to be setting up. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye, Jason.
For sure. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.